Another beautiful morning in Maine. It's day 135. You're hanging out with Nibbles and Radar on the Appalachian Trail and the bullfrogs at Surplus Pond. That's where we are right now, Surplus Pond. We're outside of the town of Andover, and today we're going to hike a total of 10 miles and get to a road so we can get taken to Andover. And we're going to do a light resupply and then get back on trail in the morning. Trails have gotten really nice. By nice, I mean they're actually walkable. You can actually walk. You're not just, like I said yesterday, we're not on the Appalachian obstacle course anymore. I mean, there's definitely some steeps and a few things you got to hop over. But look at this. It's actual trail again, which is fantastic. My knees were feeling pretty stretched out there for the last week. My ankle's a little loose. This is one of those spots where you don't know which way to go. So to find the way, I just looked for this little pile of rocks. These cairns are sometimes handy. They're handy when people don't put them everywhere. They're handy when they're consistent. If you go to like Moab and you start following the cairns around, you'll find yourself lost and calling a helicopter to come pick you up. Because people just think it's okay to just put those things everywhere. We ended up, I don't know if you watched yesterday's video, we ended up camping right next to that stream at the last shot there. There's a really nice campground right above that little tiny waterfall. And we stayed there, and then another guy named Nash, not Smash. Smash is just a little bit ahead of us. Nash ended up rolling in, and he camped with us last night. We've been hiking around him for several weeks. It's interesting though, because we talked to him and we were asking him like all these places that he's been and when he was where, and man, we've been hiking around him the whole time we've been on trail, and we really only started to see him maybe in the last month. And then like since we were up in or coming out of the Whites, we've been kind of hiking with him, like on and off, or at least camping around him. So that's how the trail can be. You can be hiking around someone for 4 months and never know that they're there, even though they're only within either a couple hours in front or behind you. Or in Nash's case, when we stayed at the Super 8 in Daleville, he was actually in the room across the hall from us. Things like that. Like he was there with Chipper and Rosie, and I recognized Chipper and Rosie. We just started kind of talking to them too. I think in late Pennsylvania, we've been hiking around them. They had to get off trail for a wedding, but they're back on now. They're just behind us by about a week or 4 days. But yeah, I recognized them, and I was like, I think you guys stayed in the hotel room across from us when we were in Daleville. And they left a day before we did. And then yet last night in talking to Nash, it turns out that he was staying with them in that same hotel room. So it's kind of funny because I just don't ever remember seeing him until the last couple weeks of the trail. And we all went through Harper's Ferry within probably a day of each other. So we've definitely been around each other for a long time. It's really funny how that works. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about there not being a lot of thru hikers that we'd been seeing. I think we went a whole week and we didn't see another like traditional northbounder. And that's what I mean by that is just somebody who started from Georgia and is finishing out in Katahdin. We hadn't seen anyone like that in, it seemed like, several weeks. Anyone new. There was a time when it was just, we were hiking around a lot of flip-floppers, like people who start in Harper's Ferry and then hike up to Katahdin and then turn around. We started losing them right after Pennsylvania. And part of the reason is because that's where they start putting on their trail legs, is when you get into New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Those are really the first sets of mountains that you hit coming out of Harper's Ferry. So you go, it's like almost 300 miles and you're just walking ridges. You might get one good climb a day in PA. And the climbs aren't even that big. It might be 900 feet or in some cases only 500 feet. But yeah, the flip-floppers that we were around, they all kind of petered off. They're not far behind. They're not as, a lot of them, their legs aren't as developed. Some of them are, though. I mean, we've definitely Bravo. I mean, he's working on his Triple Crown right now. He's on his third and final leg of that. And there's another kid who passed us. He was hauling. We got passed yesterday by a kid who started, his name was Emu, and he started, I think he said May 5th down in Georgia, so he's really hauling ass. And here we are in Maine, right? He'll be done in 10 days. Good for him. Anyway, beautiful morning. Trail that you can travel on, and I'm just happy to be out here today. It's nice and cool. It could be worse, right? We could be in the middle of Virginia, Maryland, or Pennsylvania where it's probably 110 degrees, but we're not. We're up here in Maine and it's probably 65 degrees out right now. August 2nd, 2019.